Deep in the mountains of central Idaho, in the heart of the Boulder Mountains, there's a trail that we call Boulder Basin. It's part overlanding, part rock crawling, and full of challenges. Some of them mental, some of them real. Last summer, we hit a spot in the trail where members of our group cried mercy and decided to turn around. And that decision has haunted them for almost a year now. But this summer, we all promised that we were going to go back up, all the way to the top, no matter what. But rocks, water, nasty recoveries, and even a hurricane in the forecast made it very hard to keep that promise. But we sure had fun trying. All right, we are just at the Boulder Basin trailhead. It's about like 10 o'clock. Those good blueberries. You know, every time I record something, Lance is always lurking in the background, so I figured I should just get him on camera. The guys are gonna join up with us tomorrow night, and we're all gonna head up, and we're gonna make it to the top of Boulder Basin this time. I think, I hope. What do you think, Lance? Oh yeah. Lance says we're gonna make it. It's a good sign. The Boulder Mountains are part of our dark sky reserve in Idaho, so light pollution is almost non-existent, which means the night was as dark as they come. So I got my first opportunity to test out my new Baja Designs LP6 Pros on the trail, and they lit it up nicely. I also brought the Track T-Van trailer on this trip. My plan was to use it as a base camp and leave it while running the trails. Our camping spot was only about 15 minutes from the bottom of the trail, and before we knew it, Lance and I were scoping the place out. All right, so Lance and I are just setting up camp, and we're kind of checking out this really nicely put together fire ring. And Lance came across this note, and it says, "Campers, please clean up after utilizing this great camp spot. I had to spend 30 minutes cleaning the camp after my arrival. Beer cans and trash, toilet paper. It's our public land, should be respected by those of us who use it. Leave it better than you found it. Thanks, Park." And the handle there is at Park Kitchings. Park Kitchings, maybe. I'm gonna look up Park Kitchings and tell him we found his note. We will indeed leave this better than we found it, and we will leave this note for the next people. Put it back in this Ziploc bag so it's protected from the elements. So the next folks that get here can get this note and be reminded that you should definitely clean up after your camp and try to leave it better than you found it. Thanks, Park. Okay, well, we're just setting up camp. We found this amazing camp spot. So the trailer, this Track T-Van trailer actually has kind of a quick door on the back, so instead of setting up the whole tent in the back, you can just do like a quick canvas door. And how cool is that? It's just like a quick canvas. You just slip it over and you're done. Lance was almost giddy with excitement about testing his new Bronco on the trails up here. If you remember, last year he had a Tundra, and when he decided to turn around and come down the mountain, the first thing he did was try to make that Tundra more capable. Then he punted and bought a Bronco. So we hung out on the back of the trailer, had some whiskey, chatted about what might be coming over the next few days, and relished the calm before the proverbial as well as the literal storm that was coming. When the sun came up, we had a chance to see exactly where this campsite was. Boulder Basin sits in a blessed part of Idaho located between Ketchum and Stanley. There are multiple mountain ranges in this part of the state, including the Sawtooth, the White Clouds, and the Boulder Range. Basically, everywhere you look, you get incredible views of places just waiting for you to explore. So I am just making my morning coffee, which by the way is from Cafe Mule or Cafe Mule, and they make some really good coffee. I think today's just gonna be a fun day driving around, seeing some beautiful scenery, and just kind of getting the rigs warmed up for tomorrow. Stops and he's getting out, and he comes over like he's gonna tell me something, and I'm like, why don't you just stay on the radio? Finds this rock with a hole in it. You think that's a blast hole?
Yeah, I think they augured through it, and that's how they put the blast caps in to blow rock apart.
Yeah, well, this is all definitely mining heritage out here, so no surprise.
But I've never seen anything like that.
It's pretty cool. Go back to your home, Rock. we're just driving back here on what's called Pole Creek Road, and it's taking us deeper and deeper into these mountains. And for the most part, it's kind of a windy, wooded drive with, you know, a few creek crossings and things like that that are pretty fun. Not a lot of scenic views yet. I'm hopeful that we'll find some scenic views, and we're scouting out some campsites. Might be really fun to come back to one of these days. So it's a ton of fun to be back here with like no agenda. We don't have to get anywhere. We just have to get back to camp tonight to meet up with the fellas. But it's really fun to just explore this new area. Well, this looks like a nice little camp spot. It's kind of off the road just a little bit. I think there's a nice little fire ring. I can hear a river or a creek someplace. Go check it out. So this is, look at this, great little fire ring. But if you look just over here, there's this little landing where you can just like put your chairs down, watch the creek, maybe go sit in the creek. There's plenty of shade and cover. You know, it's clearly been used, but it's not overused. It's clean, lots of privacy. This is a good campsite. I'll come back to this one.
As we got farther up Pole Creek Road, the trail started to get a lot more fun to drive. The watershed from the high mountain basin we were trying to reach has multiple creeks that run across the road. Some were just puddles that we paid little attention to, but some were bigger and deeper and a lot of fun. While I tend to make splashes with my Jeep for the camera, Lance was taking the practical approach. Because Ford puts the alternator near the bottom of the engine, Broncos are supposed to only go 4 miles an hour through water crossings. But today was just about having fun before the guys arrived. So I felt like a kid playing in the puddles with my 392, and Lance played the part of the patient adult making sensible decisions until he spotted a log in a creek that was keeping us from taking the harder of 2 routes. Lance was here to test his Bronco, to see what it was capable of doing. So anytime we had an option to take something a little more technical,
Water crossing here.
he jumped at it. And in this case, we moved a log to take the more technical of 2 available paths across the creek.
It was a good little prep for Boulder Basin tomorrow.
Yeah, 0 effort.
Yeah, it was so easy. It looked pretty gnarly.
Right.
It didn't feel gnarly.
And then we found a camping site that blew my mind.
Well, that was an incredible view. What an awesome stop. We want to keep going, but we ran into a log up here that's been either placed across the road or has fallen across the road. It looks kind of like it's fallen, maybe not like it's placed, but anyway, Lance has a plan to get rid of it. Now, no more log.
Washington Basin, like so many other mountain roads in Idaho, was created by miners. And as we drove deeper in, there were remnants of cabins from miners long gone. And I couldn't help but start imagining the life they led up here at 8,000 feet, looking for riches in the mountain, but fighting the elements to survive, using the trees to build cabins, but at war with the mountain and its mineral deposits. We explore for fun, for a thrill, and it made me wonder what those miners did for a thrill. Before long, we came to the end of the road, and Lance and I just took a second to appreciate where we were and those who had come before us. It's not an easy place, but it sure is beautiful.
It's that spot right there that made me pucker and back up. You're good. That's just you just pushing the wood. So we are headed back to camp. I think the guys are on their way to meet us. They'll probably get there just a bit after we do. I think we're gonna stop someplace when we air up. There's a place called Smiley Creek Lodge that we both love. And we might just find ourselves a beer or something before we head back to camp, so we'll see.
Beer from Smiley Creek Lodge on our minds, we raced back down the mountain, but we still took time to enjoy playing in the puddles. Before long, the lodge was in our sights, and we decided to gas up for the big climb tomorrow, even though the trail would only be 6 miles long.
Do you need some of this premium gas? That's very expensive.
Stepping inside Smiley Creek feels like you're stepping back in time in the best possible way. And they have really good beer on tap to boot. When Lance and I got back to camp, there were people waiting for us. Luckily, we knew who they were. Chris was there with his JKU rolling on 37s. Nick was on his way in his sweet red 4Runner on 33s, along with his dad Mac, who's a really cool guy to hang with. Then there was Tim, who wrecked his LR3 and his between rigs, but wanted to hang out for the night.
Hey! Look at this guy over here!
That jerk, where is he?
Chris is
This is
here!
my mind.
Now we can wheel.
37s in the winch are here.
Yeah, you're our recovery vehicle, basically.
Well, it's nice to be useful.
Yeah,
Hopefully we'll need any of it.
that's literally the only reason we invited you.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay, so I'm making dinner tonight for Chris, and here's what I'm planning. I'm making some sauteed vegetables. I'm going to put in this Korean stir-fry sauce to them, which should make them very delicious. Maybe a little spicy. Then I'm gonna take this bacon. I'm gonna cook that in this handy dandy skillet until those get reasonably cooked. Then I'm gonna take these steaks, put them down in the bacon grease, put the bacon on top, the trick I learned from my buddy Lance over there. And then to top it off, we'll do a little bit of barbacoa sauce on top of it. So mixing Korean and barbacoa, but I think it's gonna come out really, really great. And I have this massive kitchen area to cook all this stuff, so it's almost like I'm cooking at home. It's really nice.
Oh, look at that.
Meat.
That is great, man. That is A1A.
You're welcome.
Later that evening, everyone's favorite 4Runner showed up. Nick and Mac got a late start from Boise and rolled in just after sunset. Our team was now complete. And we were all curious as to how the 4Runner would do on the trail the next day. But mostly, we were happy to see they made it to camp okay.
So you guys are having gourmet mountain house, huh?
So gourmet, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, this is the pro package.
I mean, it actually, for bagged food, reconstituted cardboard garbage, it looks pretty good.
Dude, it actually is good. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I thought the same thing, but it's actually pretty decent.
All right, dude, I will try it next time. Chris is about to make his special recipe old fashioned, and Lance is in not getting any. So, I look like I'm going to like an 80s workout.
Well, it's not so much the light as the leotard you're wearing.
Yeah, really.
So just a little splash, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna coat the inside.
Or we're seasoning the glass.
You trust me?
No, clearly he does not.
You can.
Yeah, but the lid's not.
Cheers, all right, here we go.
Oh, that's
We were clearly excited to be back together. It had been a year since we'd all shared a campfire. But eventually, our thoughts turned to the day ahead.
So Chris, how are you feeling about Boulder tomorrow?
I'm mostly excited about Boulder for you and Lance. Because you guys are, this is kind of a redemption run.
Oh, for
and
sure.
You guys are totally gonna do it. You're gonna rock it. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, dude, I'm stoked.
Me too.
I'm upset with myself last year. I actually apologize to Will.
No sliders.
The sliders.
You had no armor.
I think we could have done it.
Lance, I agree with you now that you have like the basics in place to scrape.
Right.
Then yeah, let's do a recovery scenario. But like, there's no way I would have let you go up that thing with your Tundra at that time. because we were very convinced that you were going to do damage, like very, very expensive, irreversible damage.
You wouldn't be able to open your doors.
Yeah.
Be crawling
So,
out the windows like the Dukes of
you're
Hazzard,
right. I agree
which would have
with-
been cool.
Will, what about you, man? How you feeling? You got the 392 this run.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting for me because I'm driving a stock rig. Now it's a 392 Extreme Recon package. It has 35s and a lift, and we took the 392 out today, Lance and I, and we were kind of driving around certain things, and I scraped on the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Well, you got some awesome skid plating.
I got to like 22 degrees in terms of like roll. One side that made me pucker a little bit, and so I think it was like a good warm-up run for tomorrow.
Yeah.
When in doubt, winch shout. I don't know.
Winch out,
maybe.
yeah. We do have a winch. Thank you for being our winch man.
Yeah, we got two.
And you're a winch man
I
too.
do, yeah. I got the winch as well.
I don't remember how late we stayed up that night, but I do know that all we could think about was the challenge coming the next day and whether or not everyone would make it up and find redemption at the top of the mountain.
Morning. We are packing up camp early this morning because we're trying to get on the trail to beat the side-by-sides because they just are everywhere out here, unfortunately. But if we get on the trail early enough, we think we might avoid any downcoming traffic because there's a lot of spots on the trail where it's really hard if you meet somebody coming the opposite direction. So I'm gonna take the trailer down to a staging area where a lot of people leave their trailers and leave it locked up there for the night because I don't want to take it on the trail. I scratched up the last trailer I used from X-Grade campers and I don't want to damage this one. So I'm going to leave it down there. It's been phenomenal as a base camp up here. I'm going to leave it down there and then meet up with the guys at the trailhead and start that way. These yahoos are still kind of waking up and getting started. I think by the time I get down there and get the trailer dropped off, they'll be ready to come down and I'll just radio them up. So good morning. Let's do this.
I was feeling pensive about the day, not because of the trail, but because of my friends. I knew there would be some stressful situations ahead, and everyone handles them differently. I guess the thing I was worried about most wasn't how the trail would test our rigs, but how it would test our friendships. We agreed to meet at the first water crossing, an old ruined bridge where the trail officially starts.
Lance is chomping at the bit, so he's joined me ahead of the group because he doesn't want to wait. He wants to get on the trail, and I respect that. So just me and Lance waiting for the other guys. Hopefully they'll arrive here pretty soon. There's Chris. Lance and I were up here on this bridge just kind of specking out this water crossing, and he sees this thing poking out of the water here, and it's like this guy, this eyeball that we see. Pull it out, dude. What is that? That's Chucky. That's Chucky giving you the middle finger. That's clearly this something has come off a side-by-side and like flowed down the river. Honestly, that's not a great sign. This is not a good omen.
So it doesn't belong out here on the trail, in the environment, so I'm gonna take it and throw it away.
As soon as Nick and Mac arrived, we headed up the mountain. We were full of determination, but also a tinge of uncertainty. There was a lot riding on the decisions we knew we'd have to make, and while we had some idea of what the trail would bring, the weather was still a wild card, as were the people we might encounter along the way. But for now, it was just the four of us, climbing towards redemption.
Okay, we're back to the old shale shelf road. I love this road. It's one of my favorite roads in all of Idaho. It's so beautiful. I'm so happy we're here. We're running early, we're making good time. The gatekeeper is just up over this bend, so far so good.
This is where the trail starts to change.
You're good. You got it. You got grip.
Things get wet, the rocks get loose, the rocks get bigger, and it's a choke point in the trail for any other traffic. We'd been here before, but it wasn't too long until we reached the point that had turned us around last year. And this trail is just gnarly enough to fool you. We had folks ahead of us think they'd be just fine, only to turn around and hightail it back down the mountain when things got technical.
Okay, so we're at the spot where we turned around last year, and I'll tell you what, everyone's been doing so great. However, the trail is starting to get to a few of our convoy, and it's natural. You know, when you don't drive up stuff like this often, it's mentally a little daunting. And so we're just gonna take stock of the trail, the condition, maybe walk it, take a look at the obstacles, and then make a decision if we're gonna continue on past this point. I'm feeling good about it. So let's see what happens.
This part of the trail has three main sections. The first is a narrow chute of loose rock, followed by a steeper chute with bigger rocks, followed by a 4-foot waterfall / rock face.
We're gonna do it this time. We're making it, Dave.
Yeah, good.
Boom, got this.
But within a few minutes, things started to get very interesting.
What am I hitting?
Oh, he's caught up on it. I just want to say the JK had no problem with this. We're going to try and get you to put a tire on that rock.
Which one?
Let me take a look. I think you're probably going to have to try and put the passenger rear on that. So kind of drive towards that bush.
Okay.
Yeah. There he is. Yeah, buddy! Woo!
Hold on, I'm caught.
All right. Yep, go. Hold, back. All right, perfect.
What am I catching back there?
All right, hang on. You shifted a rock and now you're trying to climb that.
Ah, I heard it hit underneath.
Perfect, go. Keep going.
How you feeling, dude?
Feeling good, man.
Yeah?
Using my sliders. I got good spotters, you know, I'm just trusting them, and I'm gonna make it up here, I think.
Yeah, dude, I'm feeling confident.
So I'm going around that rock.
Yeah, I think that's the call, man. That rock is sketchy.
This was essentially the moment of truth for the group. We sent Chris ahead first because he has 37-inch tires rolling on a metal cloak 4.5-inch suspension that eats this type of terrain for breakfast. Basically, he was our safest bet. And with his winch on the front, he could turn around and winch us up if we needed it. My job was to get his tires in the right places on the waterfall to give him the easiest path up without doing too much damage to his sidewalls, and to show Lance and Nick an example of how to drive it. I will say that even though Chris and I had been up this before, the trail was in much worse shape this year due to a very wet winter and heavy vehicle traffic in the spring and summer.
Yeah, dude. He's doing it! Yeah, Chris. Keep it straight, Chris. Keep it straight. Hold it right there, buddy. Yeah.
Dude! Okay, got Chris's through. The only problem is Chris has 37s and a 4.5-inch lift. So I think he came through relatively unscathed. I gave him the bad line to begin with, but then we got him on the right one. So now it's time for Finnegan and myself to come up and see how we do. Luckily, I have full armor underneath thanks to Metal Cloak, so we'll see if we're gonna be using that here in just a second.
Oh yeah, he's looking good. Yeah, buddy. Both of them went a little too far to the driver's side when they came up that. He's got the bead lock rings and the big tires, he'll be fine. We're gonna have to watch that though. Ooh.
Finnegan and I did just fine, although I still want bigger tires in a lift.
Thanks, man. I did scrape a little bit there.
Yeah.
I did, pretty good.
Oh, you did? On the in the back, or?
Yeah, on the skid plate. I think on the gas tank.
Yeah. So
yeah, I bet these guys are gonna scrape a little bit too.
Yeah.
So you come up, man. That was awesome.
Lance and his Bronco were also on 35s, and in typical Lance fashion, he just bulldozed up the obstacle with no problems.
Yeah, buddy.
Next, it was Nick's turn to come up the obstacle, and for him, it was a big deal personally.
All right, moment of truth.
The problem for Nick is that his rig is longer and has smaller tires than the rest of ours, so navigating the tight spots took more work on his part. When he got up to the waterfall, we had our first taste of traffic as 2 rock-crawling Jeeps were waiting to come up behind him. And I was holding the camera and spotting him at the same time, which meant I was being mediocre at both tasks.
Just keep coming, Nick. You're good.
A little stressful.
You know what, dude? You had it the whole time. It was actually, you hit it a little hard. I was trying to get you off the dirt wall, but you were just fine, man. No problem.
It felt scary in the truck, I'm not gonna lie, but we got it.
So here, just take this corner. This is no big deal. You're gonna have tires on dirt and then go on up there. And I'll meet you for the next one.
We'd made it past the gatekeeper, but there were still a few moments that kept us on our toes as we headed toward the top. The higher you go in Boulder Basin, the more water you find. These are 10,000 to 11,000 foot peaks that spend much of the year under snow. So in summer, the runoff never really ends. The sense of relief the group felt was palpable. The word Boulder Basin was now not just an idea in our heads. We were putting images to the place, breathing the air, and for some of us, literally living the dreams we'd been having for a year.
Put that in your video.
Our destination was the lake, one of the most beautiful in Idaho, and I couldn't wait to jump in. The last time I was here, we pulled up, made lunch, went for a swim, and had an amazing time. So I couldn't wait to do all of that again. And this is the moment where our luck started to change.
So it's getting like stormy, like really stormy, and we're trying to get a weather forecast. I pulled it on my Garmin and it said that there's going to be a break, but then more lightning and thunderstorms tonight. Lance has a WeBoost thing, so he got a signal there for a second and pulled a weather radar, and it looked like basically that the storm, the precip, the lightning, it just keeps forming. So I'm not sure what we're gonna do now. I think we're gonna drive into Boulder City itself and go take a look at that. Like, this is like number one, stay safe. Because this is like, we're having fun. Like, there's no reason to have unnecessary risk like that. So anyway, we'll see what happens, but like all things, you just gotta take it as it comes.
Now, you might think a little rain is no big deal, and you'd be right, but this was a lot of rain, and it was already changing the trail. So we headed for the ghost town mine of Boulder City, once Idaho's highest city at over 9,000 feet. There's not a lot left of the old town, just a few cabins and a clearing where the old mine still stands.
So you just pull down there where the fire ring is, set up for lunch, put out an awning, figure out what the heck to do next.
Sounds like a plan.
We found a spot where Lance could use his WeBoost to get a strong enough signal to check the radar. So we stopped, huddled under the awning, and had lunch while discussing our options.
So here we are, we're at Boulder City Ghost Town, which is really a cool ghost town. There's not a lot left of it, but it's in such a cool spot. It's like hard to imagine people actually living up here. But we're in the middle of another cloudburst, so it's like raining and hailing. We got Chris's awning out. So this is the kind of trail, the kind of place where like bugging out in the middle of the night is a mistake. So like we kind of have to decide now if we're going to spend the night, or if we're going to or if we're gonna bug out right now and go find lower elevation. So the one thing that gives me pause is the lightning. That's the one thing that, you know, that gets my hackles up. When you're up here at 9,000, 10,000 feet and that lightning strikes and it flashes and you hear it, feels like it's right on top of you, human instinct is to leave quickly. So the last thing I want to do is like be in my tent and have a massive lightning storm happening tonight. So anyway, for now, we're just gonna get some shelter, have some lunch, and make a decision.
Yeah. I would love to camp up here, like that was the goal, right? But honestly, like this was a redemption run to get through the obstacle.
Exactly.
And we did it.
Yeah.
We did it, we made it. We're gonna come back to tell the tale, so long as getting down goes well, but yeah. So I mean, I'm good on that anyway.
Before heading down the mountain, we took one last look at the peaks around us and found old mines about halfway up the mountain. Being there in this storm in August, I can't imagine what those miners endured to make those mines and work the mountain for gold and silver. One of the most undeniable aspects of exploring is admitting that the mountains don't care about anything. That's what makes them so exciting, and also what makes them so unforgiving and frustrating, as we'd soon find out heading back down.
Yeah, he needs to straighten up big time.
As we inched our way back down some of the obstacles in the trail, we ran into a convoy of land cruisers inching their way back up the mountain. But one of them was very much not like the others, as the owner decided to drive up without a front drive shaft.
So we hear there is some rigs down here needed to come up, so we just backed up to make room for them. And we see this beautiful 80 series Land Cruiser, so we had to come down and say hi to him. What an awesome rig, look at this. Oh, somebody got stuffed over here.
Yeah, he's only got 2-wheel drive.
Ooh! So we have kind of an interesting situation here. We've got this really awesome 80 series Land Cruiser with a diesel swap in it, but it's only 2-wheel drive. So it's got hung up on the same spots we were getting hung up on earlier, but no winch, and he's not moving. And so I think what we're gonna try is to get a kinetic rope to connect between his bumper and the Land Cruiser in front of him, and they can just kind of give him a little bump to get off this spot that he's on. But this should be very interesting to watch. These guys clearly haven't done this very much. I mean, who does? You gotta give us some slack. I'm a little worried for these guys for the rest of the drive. He chose to drive up without a front drive shaft, which to me is a very questionable decision. I wonder if they shouldn't go back down. Nothing against their tenacity, it's great. I just wonder about that decision. Here we go. No, you gotta, oh my goodness. So the ropes aren't working, so we're gonna try to winch them out, Chris?
Yeah, I think we're gonna give it a try. And I think after that, probably the only other way is
back down.
Back.
Oh, back down on that nasty obstacle too.
Yeah.
This is not a good situation for this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and even if we can get them off of this, they might want to reconsider continuing.
I agree. Okay, here's the plan. We're gonna anchor the back of Chris's Jeep to a tree back here. We're gonna put rocks in front of his tires to kind of chalk them. And then he's gonna run a winch line down there and try to get this guy out. If this doesn't work, these guys are backing down the hill.
And right then, the cavalry showed up. Or should I say, the peanut gallery. Or maybe it was both. But we now had a crowd of folks wanting to get down the mountain.
What does that mean? So this is an off-road traffic jam. I've never experienced anything like this before. It's really frustrating because everyone's here, everyone's talking, everyone's trying to get up or down the mountain. Everything's slowed to a screeching halt. People are getting mad, people are drinking, and that's not helping. This is a perfect example of exactly what not to do when someone's winching. These people are standing right where the winch might break, and they're completely in harm's way. Make sure you get clear! Wheels are moving. He's up. we got through, we got Chris through, we got the land cruisers through. We're gonna wait out the side-by-sides, let them just get out of here. And then once that's all done, we'll come down. We're just gonna be like the patient adults in this scenario. And everyone, like no one's been a real jerk or anything, but it's just one of those situations when you have a lot of people and a lot of input, everyone starts to get frustrated and no one's actually getting the information. This is what we had going on. So I think things are calming down now, and we're gonna be just fine. Just goes to show you, keep your cool. Just stay patient, stay calm, be nice, be kind, be complimentary, because everyone's trying to get through a tough situation, and persevere. All right, we got the side-by-side guys coming down. Those things are just too good. That's how people get really hurt, FYI. See you guys, those are amazing machines. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
The trail and the day had taken its toll on our group. We were tired, our nerves were a little frayed from the Land Cruiser recovery, and we still had to get back down the waterfall. So we found ourselves rallying around Nick, who's having trouble getting his 4Runner down the obstacle.
Oh, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. No. Nick, don't turn that way.
Well, there's not really much else that he can do at this point either.
It's hard. It's emotional.
It is. Well, it is. It is.
No.
Straight, forward. Come, keep coming. Keep coming. I'm getting you around it, bro. Keep coming. Now turn.
With Nick through, we all felt a little more at ease. The parts of the trail that seemed hard this morning now seemed like child's play as we made our way back down the mountain in search of a camping spot out of the path of the storms. At the very bottom of the Shell Road, there's a creek that gave us a much-needed refuge for the night. Or so we thought.
Okay, well, we've been looking at the forecast, and it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. This has been like the trip of weird weather. So tonight, it's forecast between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. that we're gonna get like half an inch of rain with lightning.
Showers, thunderstorms. This is tonight, mainly between midnight and 3 a.m.
It's a bad time.
Sunday, showers and possibly a thunderstorm. Some of the storms could produce heavy rain.
And when we looked at the forecast before we came on this trip, it did not say that. It said that the storms were gonna roll in on Monday, but they clearly are coming in early. So we're trying to figure out what to do. I think we're gonna have dinner here, and then we will go down the mountain. And I don't even know if we're camping tonight. I don't know. Chris's in-laws have a place in Sawtooth City right near Smiley Creek Lodge. So we might try to maybe stay there, stay in their camp, in their parking lot, or I don't really know. Mac, what do you think about leaving?
I'd like to stay.
Me too.
I like this campsite. I love that we jumped into a campsite. We can make it our own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, what to come back. So, you guys are awesome. It's been an amazing day. It pushed us hard. It was the hardest thing I think I've ever done. Seriously. Yeah, but I think together we conquered. So, loved it.
I agree, dude.
Yeah, buddy.
So our new plan was to pack up, head all the way down the mountain, and get to a safe place for the impending onslaught of moisture that was headed our way.
You're clear. So here's stock. Let me just press the Baja button. Boom. It's unbelievable.
Even though we were past all of the technical obstacles, driving down in the dark was a total trip. Every turn, every puddle and creek crossing just hits different in the pitch black of a stormy dark sky.
tonight I am spending the night in the trailer again, in the Track T-Van trailer. I am parked outside of Chris's in-laws cabin that's near Smiley Creek Lodge. The thunderstorms shouldn't hit here nearly as severe, and inside the trailer it should be just fine. So I'm all locked up tight here, all sealed up in the trailer, and so got the heater running because I think it's going to get a little colder tonight. Pretty dang comfortable right now. So I'm going to call it a night, get some sleep, see what the night brings, and see if this storm actually hits.
The storm did hit. It was called Hurricane Hillary, and it was the first hurricane to hit Idaho since 1939. To celebrate dodging this bullet, we decided to meet for a farewell breakfast at the Smiley Creek Lodge.
Okay, breakfast at Smiley Creek Lodge. I think this is going to be great.
The lodge serves a mountain man breakfast, just what we needed. But more importantly, after a year of waiting, it gave us a chance to congratulate Nick, Lance, and Mac on sweet, sweet redemption. It just goes to show, even though the mountain doesn't care, we do. And that matters, because in the end, we did it. Until the next time, at least.